And our friend John Routh is on the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. Crowder, shop over 1,500 Toyotas indoors in one of America's largest showrooms at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan. As we get ready for some playoff hockey tonight, we talk some hoops, even some Dolphins today. David Furonis will join us in the 3 o'clock hour. I did want to carve out a couple minutes here for John Routh. He's the executive director of the Sports Hall of Fame and Museum, friend of the program. You were off a couple weeks ago when he was at Augusta for the Masters.
Yeah.
You remember he's got season tickets to the Masters. We talked about that last year, and then he called us from a phone bank at Augusta because you can't have your cell phone in the golf course, so he was just there on an old-fashioned, old-timey phone checking in from the Masters. And for me and all Canes fans from the late 80s, John Routh was the best Sebastian the Ibis in history. Mm-hmm. And when you can get arrested or detained as a mascot in Tallahassee, make the cover of every newspaper and magazine, you're really embracing that swagger.
That is a Canes thing.
That's a Canes thing.
But getting arrested, I do understand. I got you, John.
Would have slowed you down if you were in a costume.
I'm telling you, I never got away.
Your getaway wouldn't have been as challenging. John Routh is with us now. Hello, John.
Hello, friends.
There we go.
Got that.
Sorry, I'm still in my
spirit.
master's mode here.
Yeah.
But by the way, Crowder, I was detained. I was never arrested, so I don't know what that's like.
Okay, well, just stay on that side of it, John, because it ain't fun.
Did they take you to the station with your beak and everything, or did they let you go at the stadium?
They held me against the fence, one wing to one side, one wing behind my back. One of the cops, Leon County Sheriff's deputies, actually had his handcuffs out, and they were literally going to take me to jail for, I guess, disturbing the peace or carrying a fire extinguisher. I don't know what. Until our cheerleader coach walked up and said, "Excuse me, officers, what are you doing to our bird?" And they kind of realized, this looks a little stupid, doesn't it? Can you imagine the mug shot?
It was great, right? Turn to the right, turn to the left. But the funny thing is, if you don't recall it, was up in Tallahassee. And so what happened? How did you get the fire extinguisher? And I'm sure we've talked about this on the air, but you wanted to recreate the smoke that we had at the Orange Bowl, and so you were firing off the fire extinguisher. But where did you get that?
Well, it was actually one of the water fire extinguishers, water pressure fire extinguisher. I've been sitting around with some friends a couple of nights before having a few adult beverages, and somebody said something, what are you going to do Saturday's game? And I said, well, they got that, guy on the horse with the flaming spear. Maybe I'll put it out. And so there was the fire extinguisher in my living room. Why, a 20-something guy has a fire extinguisher in his living room? Probably because I thought I was going to burn the house down at some point. But,
so this was premeditated. I mean, I don't know if the statute of limitations is over, but this was premeditated, John.
So.
Well, one of my drinking buddies, one of my friends, was a police officer for Coral Gables. So he says, well, I'll get you the fireman's hat and the fireman's jacket. So I truly didn't plan the whole thing out. I knew I wouldn't get out of Tallahassee alive if I actually put out Chief Osceola's spear.
Right.
But I was probably going to go out, squirt the Miami fans, a little bit, squirt, here and there, maybe even squirt towards the horse. But I wasn't stupid enough to think that I could actually, get away with putting the flame out.
And then the moment the Tallahassee cops saw you with the fire extinguisher, they detained you?
Well, he grabbed me, and I didn't know it was a cop, and he's yelling, give me the fire extinguisher. Give me that. Of course, so I yelled, no. Of course, I'm in a costume, and the band's playing, and the crowd's cheering. Nobody heard a word. So I tried to get away from him. As I did, I squeezed the handle of the fire extinguisher and shattered water all over the chest of a Leon County Sheriff's deputy. So they slammed me up against the fence. It took 5 of them, but, they got me up against the fence, and they held me there until, Chief Osceola did his little thing on the middle field. To this day, 30-some-odd years later, when Miami goes to Doak Campbell Stadium to play Florida State, a Leon County Sheriff's deputy will find Sebastian the Ibis prior to the game and hold him off the side of the field until Osceola does his thing.
I love you setting the
scared
standard.
of a little bird.
Hey, John, not you, but as Sebastian, he could get a little obnoxious, especially to people that aren't Canes. Is that the worst thing? Like, what else have you done where it was just like, hey, the Canes fans loved it, but me as a Gator, I would be mad?
Well, actually, in '84 we did play the Gators in Tampa, and I actually did a round kick to the snout of Albert the Applicator at midfield, because I went out to shake his hand, and he slapped my hand and slapped my beak. So I just kind of jumped up and did a round kick and bam, knocked his head off.
You were wide open.
Great story. I'm not certain everyone knows, John. Like, you've played a number of mascots before you had the prestigious position at the Sports Hall of Fame and Museum. Didn't you play Billy the Marlin for a while?
I was the first Billy the Marlin for 10 years. I was Cocky at the University of South Carolina. I was Freddie the Flamingo at Hialeah Racetrack.
Oh, the best.
I was hosting the Super Bear for the Super Bowl committee in '95. Oh gosh, I was the very first USA soccer mascot for an exhibition game they had here. So I've got lots of character references.
Well, what was the most fun? Was it Sebastian the Ibis? Because you could be a little rowdier as Sebastian than Billy the Marlin.
Well, I started out, Coach Frazier brought me down here to be the Miami Maniac first for baseball.
Right.
And so the Maniac was kind of a lovable loser type character. And, I did a lot more entertaining at the baseball games. Football was a little more of a, cheerleader, getting the crowd into the game. But they were both, they both had their great things. And Billy the Marlin for the Marlins was fun, but, it was a little more corporate. You had to do certain appearances, and during the game you could only do certain things, couldn't get on the field but once a game. And, but it was all fun. It was just, I feel like I've never had a real job, because it was just so much fun. And, fortunately, Miami was winning both baseball championships and football championships in the 80s and early 90s. And then I got to the Marlins and we won a World Series. And, so it's just been it was a wild roller coaster. And I had 3 Heisman Trophy winners because I was at South Carolina when George Rogers won it. Of course, Vinny Testaverde and Gino Torretta. So, my mascot resume has a lot of interesting points to it.
We have to bring John Routh on one day just to talk about mascot stories because I'm fascinated. But I don't want to run out of time here because I actually brought John on today. You go, hey, isn't there a playoff hockey game tonight? Isn't there a Heat game tomorrow? I actually brought him on because I wanted to make sure that we gave some attention to the 53rd Sports Hall of Fame and Museum induction banquet. It is Thursday, May 4th. Is this the first time it's been at the Watsco Center?
It is the first time it's ever been held on campus. When as you say, 53rd, the first one was held at Miami Springs Villas, and they've been held downtown at the Hyatt, at Jungle Island, at different places. And so this is the very first time we're holding it on the campus, and certainly at the Watsco Center. But we've got every year I say we've got a great class, but this class, I don't want to embarrass the other ones, but this one could top them all. It really is an amazing class. We've got David Gill, an All-American pitcher, Kevin Brown, one of the biggest power hitters that the Hurricanes have ever had. You got All-American kicker Todd Severs, and All-American tight end Willie Smith, Leela Cannon, who was the national championship golf coach in the 80s. You have Doris Glenn Easterly Richards, who is one of our most decorated divers of all time, Aaron Mosier, who was a decathlon and heptathlon champion, say that word 3 times, and Raquan Williams, who is one of our greatest women's basketball players, Vinny Scavo, our trainer extraordinaire and my first roommate here in Miami 40 years ago, and the class is topped off, of course, by Coach Jim Larinaga, the Final Four coaching basketball coach.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing class, and we've still got room. People can buy tickets and come to the event on Thursday, May 4th at the Watsco Center. It's just going to be an amazing event. And we're actually partnering this year with an organization that's doing an event on Saturday at the arena. And so this is going to kind of have a Hollywood feel. It's going to have LED backdrop television screens, and we're carpeting the entire basketball arena. The tables will be on the floor. It's just going to be an amazing event, but we still got a few tickets. If some folks are interested, they could go to umsportshalloffame.com. That's umsportshalloffame.com. And, it's come on out. It's a great event. There'll be, not only the class that's being inducted, the 10 inductees will be there, but usually we have between 25 and 40 former or current members of the Hall of Fame, former student athletes. In the past, we've had, some of the greats have come. Ted Hendricks has been there, Michael Irvin, Lawrence Sapp, Vinny Testaverde, Gino Toretta comes occasionally. So, you never know who's going to be there, and it's just a fun event.
Yeah, it's a really great event for Hurricanes fans. I love the fact that it's at the Watsco Center this year, which is why I wanted, again, to bring John on. And obviously, because Jim Larinaga is being inducted, and he's such a good friend of the program, and he's up for, the Basketball Hall of Fame. While he didn't make it this time, maybe he will in the future, but he is going into the Sports Hall of Fame where he belongs. We love Coach Jim Larinaga, and we love the fact that he's being inducted. One more time, John, where can someone get tickets? Again, this is Thursday, May 4th. It's at the Watsco Center, Sports Hall of Fame and Museum induction banquet. And where can people get info and tickets?
Go to umsportshalloffame.com.
umsportshalloffame.com. John Routh, I am fascinated every time that I speak with him. One day we're going to get that Masters invite. He hasn't come yet. He's very popular every, end of March, beginning of April, I'm sure. That's when he turns his phone
Lee
off.
Sterling's been bugging me for years. But,
yeah, I would see it. There you go. Did you make it for Sunday for rounds 3 or 4?
Yeah, well, actually, after I talked to you on that Friday, my nephew and I actually heard the trees fall and saw where it happened. Then I went back again on Sunday morning with my brother Billy, and we walked around for 4 or 5 hours. Unfortunately, most of the good items in the pro shop had already been taken, so I didn't come home with many good memorabilia. But I did, of course, spend about $500 or $600 on stuff. At some point, I'll give you one of the koozies I bought.
I want that green wrapper from the egg salad sandwich.
Oh, goodness.
I did bring the wrappers home for you. So.
Yeah, he sent me a great picture holding a couple of the green wrappers. I loved it.
Y'all are weird.
All right, John Routh. Everybody, you should go to this Sports Hall of Fame induction night. Again, May 4th is the evening. It's at the Watsco Center in Coral Gables. Thank you, John.
All right. Thank you, guys. Take care.
He's a fascinating guy. I could honestly do an hour with him just on the Mascot stuff.
Yes.
The Master stuff is great. Just the Mascot stuff, though, like on a hot day when it was, Joe Robbie or Pro Player Park putting on that Billy the Marlin costume. There's 700 people in the like. That part had to be sad. Like you're just dripping sweat. There's no one there. It's an afternoon game, against the Twins.
After you drop kick Albert,
That's
everybody
a great
loves
story.
you.
I love that he called it a snout. One wing back, another wing back.